hurt in an accident, the other driver made a bad choice. So, make a good choice. Call Glia for the maximum possible settlement of your injury case. 830-7070.
Welcome to the show Money, Politics, and Religion. Because if we don't talk about it, someone else will control the narrative. First, money. How should someone handle money so they can make their lives better? Second, politics. How can we learn from other countries' failures to help improve our communities? Third, religion. How can we improve our spiritual lives so we can live in peace and abundance? Anthony Paglia's grandfather was the late Arturo Gambito, co-founder of the Latin Chamber of Commerce and Nevada's first licensed Hispanic architect. Anthony will share Arturo's legacy with you to help improve the community as Arturo would want. So if you're ever hurt in a car crash, call Anthony Paglia Injury Lawyer at 702-830-7070 for a free and confidential consultation. And now, here is the producer and your host, Attorney Anthony Paglia.
Call 830-7070.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the show, Money, Politics, and Religion. I'm here with Veronica. Veronica, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you today, Anthony?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much. We have a good show wrapped up for you today here. First, we're going to get started with the interview with Dr. Brian Day, chiropractic physician. We're going to get that kicked off started first, and then when we get back to the break, I'll have my little monologue, and we'll talk about current news and muggings and things going on the streets.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to a song that you have for us today.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap up the show. So, Dr. Day, are you on the phone here with us, sir?
Hello, hello.
Dr. Day, Ed is manning the phones back there. I think we might have a technical difficulty. We can see if we can get him back on the phone here.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yep, Warren was injured on the job here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I found out we miss him.
Yep, we do miss him. We hope that you recover and are planned to be back here Tuesday. Ed right now really needs you. He's sweating bullets back there trying to get Dr. Day on the phone, something we had planned out here for a couple months, but
we can talk about our little gift coming in. We're very excited that our gifts came in.
all right, let's talk about the gifts here. Let's show one
Yeah.
for the people who are on kkvv.com. You can see us here. We have the new keychain, so we're doing Capriati's and keychains.
That's
gonna
cool.
be the
Capriati's and keychains.
Yep, with Carlos the car.
There you go. There's
A
all
lot
the
of-
C's.
Yeah, keep it going. And so
That just worked out.
It did. It worked out well. And so, again, we're having a little bit of difficulty getting Dr. Day on the phone here, but we'll just. Oh, he is talking. Hey, Ed, are you there? Dr. Day?
No, I don't think he's there yet.
Okay.
So let's keep talking about that. We're going to be choosing a day, and we're going to be doing a Capriati and keychain drive-through. I guess we're going to call it that, right?
Yes.
Capriati's and keychain drive-through. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving away box lunches. They wanted me to make sure that we let everybody know that these box lunches, once they're closed, they're not touched. Everything's very sanitary and delicious.
Yes.
That's what they wanted me to make sure I told, our listeners that we're going to be giving away a sandwich with chips and a box lunch, and I think we're going to be doing 100 boxes. Is that where we're at?
Yep.
So Anthony here is going to be giving to the community. I'm very excited about that. I get excited about community outreach.
Yes, absolutely. Good times.
Yeah.
It's always a good time.
Yeah.
Good thing to do.
So we're going to be doing this. Are we going to be doing this at your office, same area, parking lot?
Yeah, so we'll be on Stephanie and Galleria off the 95 freeway, and
Right,
pull
where
up,
your-
get your sandwiches.
Where your cool new sign is at, right?
Yep, we put a nice new sign up, and we want people to see it and know that we're here to help. If you got any questions, any legal questions at all, if we can't, answer it, we can find someone who can.
Right, and you also have Spanish speaker there, right?
We have a full Spanish-speaking staff that can, help anybody who is having trouble communicating.
So cualquier persona.
Sí. Yep, we help them all, everybody.
Todos. So yeah, we're going to be doing a community outreach, giving out a box lunch, and first come, first served. And I'm hoping that we get a really good turnout. I think that it'll be great. So I think our guest is on the line.
I just got a text from him saying that he got static. He lost the connection. He's calling back now. Dr.
Okay,
Day,
great.
are you there? No. Well, I think Ed's shaking his head back there. He doesn't know what to do. I think
Okay.
it's all
Well,
right.
that's okay. We're okay because you know what? We got all kinds of things to talk about until we can get that
Well,
fixed.
let's talk about Dr. Brian Day. His chiropractic clinic is right off of Warm Springs and Stephanie in Henderson, and he's a wonderful chiropractor. He does a great job helping his patients. His phone number is 702-209-2525. He helped, so the reason why I wanted to bring him on the show is him to talk a little bit about he helped my high school friend's wife who was hurt in a crash. She was in the car with her daughter, my friend's daughter, and they got rear-ended. I went to high school here in Las Vegas, so it was a friend of mine, and she went to Dr. Day, and he did an amazing job helping her get relief.
How old was she?
Oh my goodness, she's I don't think she might not be happy with me sharing her age.
Oh, okay.
However, she's in her mid 30s.
Okay, so I'm thinking daughter, like little girl.
Well, that's the little girl. She was younger, and I'm not sure. I wanted to find out if Dr. Day, what he did to, if anything, to help the little tiny one. Little kids are so resilient. It's just when we get
Yeah.
older, we don't.
I know, we
hurt.
get stiff.
And so, but we were able to help her, and he did such a good job helping her recover from her car crash that her husband, my good friend from high school, started treating with him too and
Okay.
getting relief. So,
Okay, so do we have our guest on the line now? Hello? Hello, hello.
Ed's telling us to connect through, and he's still trying, but that's okay. You know what? We're just going to
We're gonna roll with the punches.
keep rolling with the punches. Ed can try a few more times here to get Dr. Day. We're just sorely missing Warren here today, our normal engineer, and
Yeah.
Ed is typically the captain of the ship,
Right.
and
Right.
so
But that's okay. So they were in an accident, and Dr. Brian Day. I like that last name, by the way.
it's a
Day.
good one,
That's really nice.
Dr. Day. And yeah, he helped and got them better, and we were going to ask him some questions. We got his website here. It's 1st-chiropractic.com. So first-chiropractic.com.
Okay.
And it's a really good website. Answers some questions and about chiropractic care. These people, these chiropractors, these physicians, they go through a lot of training and schooling.
Right.
And so it's a 4-year schooling for chiropractors after college. So that's important.
Well,
And,
we'll wait till we get him on the line, and we'll talk about a few things that are going on with you because you came in kind of knowing that there was I don't know what he's saying. Yeah. So what happened today? Something happened today.
Yeah,
So we need
my-
to talk about that.
Oh, Dr. Day, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
There we are.
okay.
I
Hallelujah.
made it in.
We had a little technical. Our normal engineer Warren is unfortunately out. He's hurt, and Ed, the captain of the ship, is man in the engineering room, and he's cooled himself off back there. Ed, thank you so
Apparently, Ed
much.
did a great job because he got us through.
Okay,
did,
good.
yeah,
You
he-
did a great job.
Yep, he pushed through, and now you're here with us. And we were just talking about how you treated one of my high school friends, his wife and his baby girl in a car crash.
I did. I remember that very well. It was certainly a pleasure to treat him.
And you did such a good job with her that he ended up treating with you as well.
He did. We had a whole lot of fun with him. Both of them, actually, and they just had such a beautiful little girl. They used to come in here to the clinic all together, and she would play around, and we just had a great time. Loved them to death.
Excellent. Yeah, so that's great, and thank you again so much. And we wanted to bring you
Absolutely.
on to talk about a little bit. Veronica was saying there's a lot of training. Veronica was talking about before the show. She knows a lot of people who just walk around and they crack their own necks.
Yeah.
They don't
Yep.
think have any training.
I see it all the time.
Yeah, everybody like moves their shoulders and shrugs around and just cracks that neck. And I
Right.
was just saying, like, is that healthy? I mean, that would be one of the questions I'd ask. Is that a good thing or not?
That's a very good question, and the answer to that would be yes and no. It really depends on how they're doing it. If they're putting a lot of rotation into it, then no, it's not healthy. You have the vertebral artery that brings blood supply to the brain, and when you do any kind of rotation movements, you close down one of those arteries, meaning that there's only one artery left to to supply blood to the brain. And if there's anything wrong with the artery that's supplying blood to the brain, you could end up with a stroke. So any kind of rotation, yes, it's very dangerous. So any kind of rotational movements, no, I think they should stop immediately. Now, if they're just kind of moving their neck in sort of a lateral motion and just kind of stretching it a bit and it pops, that's not a problem.
Yeah, okay. And there's that pop sound. My understanding that our joints have what's called, and I'm probably not going to say this correctly or pronounce it right, synovial fluid.
That's correct. You did great. Yeah, all the joints in the spine, anyway, they're all facet joints. They're all synovial joints, which means that the joint itself is surrounded by a capsule. In that capsule, there's the synovial fluid, and there's also 3 different gases: nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. Now, when the joint is under a whole lot of pressure, those gases get squeezed, and they get squeezed hard enough to where they're in a liquid state. So when we do a chiropractic adjustment, in essence, we're moving the joint and we're expanding the capsule, and we're allowing those gases to pop back into their natural state.
Then that's what happens every time we pop our fingers or
Correct.
joints.
And that
That's
makes you
correct.
feel better when you pop that? Is that the way it works? Because I know when
It
you
does.
crack your back, it feels good, right?
Yes.
It makes it feel better for a couple of different reasons. One, we're moving the joint through its complete range of motion. And 2, we've just released a lot of pressure by allowing those gases to expand back to their natural state. It's widened the joint space, and it's relieved a lot of the pressure, so it feels good.
Just like releasing gas the other way, right? It feels
That
it was like a release of pressure, and it feels better sometimes for
Right.
certain
I'm not going
folks.
to comment on the other way, but absolutely.
Yeah,
And
it
so-
depends which gases you're talking about.
Okay,
but-
so when someone's walking down the street, we're going to say, don't just start cracking your neck. Go see a professional. You have training. Can you tell us a little bit about your training, Dr. Day?
Sure. Well, every chiropractor out there has to go through 10 trimesters of school. Now, when I say that, we didn't get summers off. We get a few weeks off in between trimesters, so it really does kind of equal out to about a 4-year education. Now, this is postgraduate education. Chiropractors do go to 4-year school first. It's not required to get a 4-year degree, but it is required to hit all the prerequisites, which are all the same science courses that any pre-med student would do. So you really can't get away from at least 6.5 years. Most everybody's somewhere around 7.5 years for chiropractic education.
And you do hands-on conservative training?
Absolutely. We go through several classes where we learn a lot of different techniques. In chiropractic, there's a lot of different techniques that are used to manipulate the joints. And we learn, we probably learn at least a dozen different techniques while in school. And then a lot of seminars outside of school that can teach other techniques that aren't taught in school. But there is hours and hours and hours of hands-on training.
Gotcha. And I shared with you an article from Time Magazine, and they were talking about in there how, treatment, chiropractic treatment is becoming more and more popular as time moves forward.
It is. I graduated back in March of 1994, and my first job was in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I was very lucky. I worked in a clinic that did work with many different health professionals, orthopedists, neurologists, radiologist, anesthesiologist, you name it. We worked with everybody. The difference between then and now is that it seems to be more of the medical profession working with chiropractic.
And that would make sense.
chiropractors.
So my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong here, so the goal is joint stability. And so, for all the facet joints up along the spine, the elbow, the knee, every joint in the body, the main goal is to have joint mobility and for that to operate well. And that's why we have our muscles, tendons, and ligaments to help support that joint. And whenever that joint isn't aligned properly, that's when we start getting these pains and tightnesses and things. Am I making any sense?
Anthony, I think I need to hire you here in my clinic.
There we go. Okay, thank you.
So you're right. Ligaments, the tendons, the muscles, they're all there for stability and making sure that the ligaments making sure that the bones don't move too far out of place during motion. The muscles acting to help move the joints, and the tendons connecting the muscle to the bone. What we're trying to do as chiropractors when we're talking about moving a joint, sometimes the joints just don't move well. they're not out of place. They're just not moving correctly. They're not moving from point A to point B the way that they should. So with a chiropractic adjustment, what we do is we make sure that that joint is moving from point A to point B so that you don't have joint dysfunction.
And that makes sense. I was thinking, well, if everything is meant to support the joint, make sure the joint is stable and properly mobile, just the chiropractor goes right at the joint and make sure that the joint is properly set.
Absolutely. You can rehab a muscle, you can rehab a ligament, but if you don't also rehab the joint and make sure the joint is moving correctly, then you haven't completed the job.
Excellent. Okay. And so I have your address here, 1489 West Warm Springs Road, Suite 125, Henderson, Nevada, 89014.
That is correct.
Your email, info@first-chiropractic.com. And
that's correct, with first being one ST dash instead of spelled out FIRST.
Excellent. Phone number 702-209-2525. And that is the phone number. Make sure you give him a call. If you've been hurt in a crash, Dr. Day is there to help you. I know he did a great job for my good friend, his wife, his daughter, the whole family, helping him out. So please make sure you give him a call. What I really want to point out that's excellent about Dr. Day's clinic is they're also open on Saturdays and on Fridays till 7. So, I'm looking at here now till 7 p.m. So like if you were working and you're having some issues and you want to go in after work, he's there. Saturdays he's there. So hardworking man.
Absolutely. We're here right now.
And so he's there at the clinic right now waiting for you to go down there and get some relief. So make sure you give him a call. Again, Dr. Day, 702-209-2525. Veronica, do you have a question?
I have questions. I always have questions. I'm just curious. My daughter is a CrossFit trainer, and she's constantly lifting very heavy weight. Does that affect joints in a negative or positive way?
It can be both. I mean, as long as she's lifting correctly, then she shouldn't have any problems. The thing that I get a little concerned with when they're doing heavy lifting really is more of the intervertebral discs, because those are really our shock absorbers of the spine. So those can be injured from heavy lifting or repetitive heavy lifting. But we have here at the clinic, we have a decompression table. It's something you would commonly find in an orthopedic surgeon's office for pre and post surgery. And what it does is it basically relieves the pressure on the disc. It helps rehydrate the disc by creating a negative pressure in the disc. A disc doesn't have blood supply, so by creating this negative pressure, it allows the nutrients to flow into the disc and help rehydrate it.
Oh, that's really interesting, right?
Yeah, and so when you say lifting it correctly, that would mean like if you're doing a squat, you want your ankle joint to be aligned with your knee joint and making sure that your knee doesn't go over your toes to cause like pain in those joints.
Well, the good thing is if people are doing that, hopefully they're doing it with a trainer, and she's I guess a certain level trainer, so she's studied all that. But my concern, as her mom, is watching her do this even during pregnancy. She did CrossFit, and she was lifting heavy weight, and that was a big concern for me because I was like, I don't know, that doesn't look right.
A marathon runner as a baby.
She has 2 little boys that are wild, so
But I do agree with you. I think that if you're going to do any kind of weight training, that having a trainer, especially if you're new, and even if you're very experienced, to have a trainer with you to make sure nothing goes wrong, it's very important.
Yeah.
You only get one body.
That's what I say, So.
And doctor, you have a digital X-ray at your clinic too?
We do. We have digital X-ray. I've always been involved in a clinic that has X-ray. We deal with car accidents quite frequently, and because there's trauma in a car accident, we don't want to miss anything. If somebody comes in here, we want to make sure that we're not missing anything, and if anything is wrong, we can get them out to the right place immediately.
Excellent. That sounds great. Yeah, like make sure they get like an MRI to see what's going on inside of them, so they know what it is that's causing the pain or discomfort.
Correct. We work with all types of professionals. The imaging centers, neurologist, orthopedist, anesthesiologist for pain control. You name it. We have reached out and developed quite a few relationships out here to make sure that it's more of a team approach than just one person trying to make all the decisions.
The team approach is the better way to go. Absolutely, it's good to have a medical team to back you up after you've been hurt in a car crash.
Absolutely.
Doctor, can you tell us a little bit about physiotherapy?
So physiotherapy and physical therapy are somewhat interchangeable. However, it depends on which profession you're in for the legalities of using that particular nomenclature. So a physical therapist can do physical therapy, and over here in a chiropractic office, even though we are doing a lot of muscle strengthening, we're doing a lot of the same modalities with ultrasound and E-stim, we call it physiotherapy.
Okay. All right. Sounds excellent.
I have a question. Is there different types of chiropractors? Only one type of chiropractor?
That's a great question. That's probably one of the best questions I've had all day. Yes, there are many different types of chiropractors. If you are looking for a chiropractor to help you lose weight, I'm not your answer.
Oh.
That's not something I specialize in. That is not something I've studied. I spend most of my time studying injuries, and there are some wonderful chiropractors who are fantastic with weight loss. Same with sports injuries. If you get hurt in a sports injury, you're probably better off to go with a chiropractor who has spent many, many years learning sports injuries. So that's one of the things that we are, well, I guess somewhat behind in the medical profession. When you go see a medical doctor, you know where you're going. If you're going to go see an orthopedist, you know it. It says it on the door. With a chiropractor, you might think that every chiropractor does the same thing, and it's not really the same thing. I do specialize more in car accidents. I have friends that specialize in sports injuries. I have other friends that are specializing in nutrition. That's not me. So you want to make sure that whatever you're looking for, that's the chiropractor you go to.
That sounds good. We
Sounds
appreciate
great,
that. So
right?
make sure if you've been hurt in a crash, First Chiropractic, make sure you give them a call, 702-209-2525. And we appreciate your time, Dr. Day. Thank you so much for being on the show here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you really answered some great questions, actually, right?
Yes. And so we're going to go to break here, and Dr. Day, we'll have you back on again in the future. We appreciate your time.
Right.
Sounds like fun. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Are you tired of listening to attorney ads offering to help you after you suffer an accident? Are you tired of proving it's not what you hoped for? I was in the same situation some time ago, and I discovered attorney Anthony Paglia. This attorney was born and raised in the Vegas Valley. He comes from a well-known and highly respected Cambero family. They are known to support and help the Latino community. Anthony Paglia, grandson of Mr. Arturo Cambero, has helped hundreds of people who have suffered accidents such as slip and falls, motorcycle accidents, dog bites, and auto accidents. Call attorney Anthony Paglia, your best option as a Latino. 702-830-7070, 702-830-7070, because you never know.
If you've been hurt in an accident, the other driver made a bad choice. So, make a good choice. Call 830-7070. Choose attorney Anthony Paglia for the maximum possible settlement of your injury case. 830-7070.
Hey Holmes, my name is Carlos the Carro, and remember man, to call ATO 7070, cause you never know when you need some help.
All right, we're on.
All right, we're back, folks. Welcome, Money, Politics, and Religion. And I was just telling Veronica that I don't wear a mask, and she looked at me kind of funny and said, "You don't? Why not?" And so I just for me it's my grandpa came here from Cuba to escape communism, and I can't, my Cuban genes are screaming that the government health officials are taking away my freedom of expression to choose as a healthy person to not wear my mask. That's all I'm saying.
But don't you get people that say, you know what, don't come in here if you don't have a mask? What are you going to do then?
I tell them that I've talked about this on the show before. I tell them I have a medical exemption.
Do you?
I get headaches if I don't get oxygen.
Because
migraines,
I've been
yes.
fighting this too. I have a skin condition, and the mask is making my face burn
Worse.
like on fire.
Well, then you have a medical exemption, and under HIPAA, you don't have to share that with them.
Really?
You don't have to give them a doctor's note or nothing. And then again though, you're on private property. If they say like no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service, and then you kind of have to succumb to the private party's orders. They can have you, as a trespasser leave. Thing is, I have it's been some experiences when I walked into places with people giving me a little hard time here and there, and I tell them no, and it's so far it's worked out well for me. I don't go out as much as I
Yeah,
used to. I will say that.
I get like anxiety with it. I start feeling like I can't breathe. They want you to wear it even to the gym. It's like it's too much. When is this gonna be over?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Well, some states, some governors are different than other governors. It depends on the governor. The president gave that power to the governors, and so some states are more locked down than others, and we're more of the more locked down states across the U.S. than others.
And it's ridiculous to me because we need to get back in the groove of, Las Vegas making money and just people
Yes.
happy again. Everybody's mad. Everybody's
saying.
upset.
People are lacking
What happened
money.
to your mom, Or
She got mugged, attempted mug inside of Home Goods off of
and this just happened,
Eastern and St. Rose. Yeah.
right?
One guy was talking to her and saying, "Hey, what time is it?" While the other one was trying to sneak their hand into her purse. And so, these type of shenanigans happen, and my mom, freaked out and screamed and slapped the hand away and was able to defend herself.
But some people may not, you just never know. And this is all people. I mean, I'm not saying we know what the situation is, but it could be a situation where someone really needs money.
And we've heard stories of the government releasing people out in the streets from the jail, right, because of the concern of the COVID. So that doesn't make any sense to me. But anyhow, that's I guess above my pay grade, huh?
Right. It's just so much going on.
It's crazy times, and so that's why it's good to.
And then how are you supposed to recognize people if everybody's covered in masks?
Yeah, it used to be the bad guys who wear the mask, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's some type of ritual. We were talking about rituals on the 9/11 special with Ed. That word came up a lot, and so it does seem like it's a ritualistic thing to be wearing that mask out there. So, folks, be safe. Make sure you share the road,
And make sure you watch your purse.
and keep your hands on your purse.
Lock your doors when you come up to corners and you're stopped, because I have a story a long time ago where my ex-husband got carjacked
Really.
because his window was down. Yeah.
Gotcha. Keep the windows up. Be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Park close to lights, and up front where a lot of people are by the front of the store is better.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We
That could
talked
be a
about-
whole nother show, by the way.
Okay, we'll circle around to it, I'm sure. So we talked about immigrants, and we talked about this is an immigrant nation, and if you go back enough generations, your family's going to be from a country other than the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed.
That's a good one.
I agree. Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. That's from James 1:12. Here's a story. On a trip to Israel, a tourist was amazed to hear a young Jewish man recite his family lineage back 14 generations. She reflected upon her own family tree and realized that she could not only trace her own lineage back 5 generations. She concluded, God is the only one who knows my beginning from my ending. Ultimately, this is true for each person. No one fully knows what another has experienced early in life, or what genetic influences may be brought to bear in a person's life because of behavior of his or her parents and other ancestors. A part of each person will always remain a mystery, known to God alone. Don't find fault with the man who limps or stumbles along life's road, unless you have worn the shoes he wears, or struggled beneath his load. There may be tacks in his shoes that hurt, though hidden away from your view. The burdens he bears, if placed on your back, may cause you to stumble too. Don't be too hard on the man who errs, or pelt him with wood or stone, unless you are sure, double sure, that you have no fault of your own. So that was a nice little story there, and
And
Kinda-
that's true. We're just talking about, just judging. I mean, it is really hard. That is something that I think everyone struggles with, correct?
yes, Ed was talking about earlier how he was sitting in his truck in a scarier part of the Vegas
Yeah.
for 3 hours waiting for a tow truck, and people were looking into his truck, and he was scared, and he didn't want to prejudge.
And I think
However,
that's why it's difficult to lend a helping hand, because you're afraid. You just don't know what the person is living, I mean, I come across homeless people all the time, and I'm like, I wish I had enough to give everybody something, but you don't. Number one. Number two, you're afraid.
Yeah, so fear shouldn't be something that we want to act on, right?
Right.
So we want to help people, and then at the same time, we don't want to put ourselves in danger's way.
danger, so-
you gotta have discernment and be able to make those type of decisions, probably better to be safe in certain situations.
Right.
So in that story, they talked about generational curses on the biblical side. On the science side, it's genes, right, that can be passed through, and that's one thing that they both agree on. The preacher man with the Bible and the science professor with the science book both agree that you pass down certain memories or genes through your lineage.
Right.
One cool thing my dad always says is, we all go back to Noah anyways, the great flood. That's where we all connect. So for people to say, hey, I'm a noble bloodline or along these lines, doesn't really mean anything if you break it down from that perspective. And so,
But you could change your generational issues. You can be the one to make the change. You can break that chain,
I agree.
right?
And the scripture says to pray for your father's sins. And so that, to help break that chain, what you're talking about, you want to pray for your sins and your father's sins, and probably maybe even your mother's sins,
Right.
your mother's, father's, anyone in your lineage, right?
Yeah.
And so,
I'm laughing because I remember my uncles, I would say, how come this person seems like they're related to this person? And he would say, well, back in the colonial days, there was only one little candle. Nobody knew who was related to who. And I kept that in my mind. I'm like, what is that supposed to mean?
that's funny. And let's go back to Noah's Ark. And
Yeah.
Right? We're all people.
Yeah.
And don't take the race bait out there and start breaking stuff and getting mad and things. That's
Yeah.
part of the trick. You don't want to fall for that trick. And we talked about, if you go back enough generations, we're all immigrants, and there's the big debate on the wall down south. And my grandpa came here from Cuba for escaping communism. However, what we see with socialist, communist, liberals, there's thousands of people coming through, and we see this happening in Europe, and then on TV they're walking through South America, walking through Mexico, into the United States, and makes me wonder if they're paid to do so. These mass migrations where people are coming in not to pursue the American dream, but to come here to hopefully live off the system and be kind of a burden. And I wonder that, and I think that is the main issue why people want to put up that southern wall.
Right.
And you always hear about MS-13 coming through, and then they have this thing where they ship them down to South America and then just make it back through, and they commit horrendous crimes. I'm always hearing stories about that. And these, gangbangers, they're evildoers, they're proud of it, and some of these people are supporting the wall for these reasons. And
So do you support the wall?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know. I am independent
you're
on
on the
that.
teeter-totter.
Yeah, the thing is, if people are being paid to mass migrate here to help disrupt our system, then the wall needs to go up. If that's not true, then we don't need the wall. And the thing is, I don't know from my personal experience. I can just tell you what the news says, and a lot of times I can see that the news isn't trustworthy.
Right.
From my personal experience. So it's something.
And a lot of people, they have really strong opinions, but they're not completely informed. I was just talking about this to my husband. I'm like, you can't just expect to have thousands of people come here and it's going to be okay. They're misinformed. They're saying, well, they have these kids in cages and all this stuff they're talking about. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? I know. And I'm thinking, do they have all the information? How did that happen? We need to have all the information before we think it's terrible.
And if the news is going to mislead us, it makes it even more hard to discern what's really going on, because I've seen it for myself where it's like ABC showing the front line of Syria battling it out, but it was actually a video of a gun show in Kentucky. And they just tweet, hey, we're sorry for the mishap.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. And so they kind of brush it under the rug. And so discernment is difficult. You have to do your own research. That's become the new thing. You can't just trust what is said. And so I did write a little bit about the fake news and the media. I don't just pick on the CNN side or the Fox side. I'd like to pick on both. And we have Jerry Spence from this book here, Bloodthirsty Bees and Pious Pimps of Power. And this book is always exciting. And I wrote about it online too, how Jerry Spence writes about how Fox News is kind of like compared to Hitler, some of the rhetoric they use. And people got really mad on the internet at me, and I call it interactive marketing. You know, a lot of people wouldn't even dare to put something, oh, you're, what an idiot for putting something controversial online. And I'd say, before the pandemic, I got a lot of heat. Why would you call a show Money, Politics, and Religion? Well, it's because I think we need to talk about it. We're told not to, but I think we need to for the reasons why we discussed. The president says fake news for a reason. And so Hitler founded his movement on the idea that Christ approved of the pure white race and hated his own, the Jews. Such is a towering insanity to begin with. But here's what he said in a famous speech, and the German people, not unlike our own, listened. Today's Christians stand at the head of Germany. I pledge that I never will tie myself to parties who want to destroy Christianity. We want to fill our culture again with the Christian spirit. We want to burn out all the recent immoral developments in literature, in the theater, and in the press. In short, we want to burn out the poison of immorality which has entered into our whole life and culture as a result of liberal excess during the past few years. Sound familiar? Let me repeat, this is not Ann Coulter or Pat Robertson speaking. We need to expend much more thought to conclude that something grossly mad is transpiring here. Consider the purported religion of the right, a so-called fundamental Christianity that seems to despise the poor and love the rich, that is vengeful rather than forgiving, that supports international crime in the form of illegal wars rather than seeking world peace by addressing the underlying causes of war, a religion of the right that is in sum hates rather than love. And compare the express promises of Hitler toward Christianity above with the same sentiments of the non-Christian right we've encountered, what Hitler calls and the Christian fundamentalists call and the born-again leadership of this country calls the corporate king. All of their blonde handmaidens and pimps of power call the liberal excess during the past. Those were Hitler's words, the liberal excess during the past. I return to Theodore Dreiser, who in 1931 wrote as if he were writing today. His prophetic thoughts preceded the rise of Hitler. The unlimited use of propaganda, the millions spent on foolish campaigns designed to shape or change public opinion in regard to this or that, divorce, birth control, the falseness of the Darwinian theory, or almost anything in connection with science and history, the blather about saints and cures and bringing to all to Jesus, while taxes are evaded and the scummy politicians whom they endorse, or even nominate and elect to office, proceed to rob the public in favor of the corporations and churches whom they serve. Dreiser continued his rant, not unlike Jerry Spence's. No wonder ignorance, no wonder illusion, when those with power and religious field knowingly delude and mislead the masses. The things told them that is important to the vote, and for that, or the crook, uphold religion. It is good for the people to go to war, to put religion in the schools, to give into the hands of these mental bandits the care and education of all children, so that they may be properly enslaved by religion. A slave, in my opinion, is a man who does not think for himself. A man with knowledge is not powerless, but always with suave and polished words. For it is not men who are talking, as they assert, but God through them. And so through the mouths of tricksters and social agitators, and no more and no less, comes all the hooey in regard to the hereafter. Something is happening in America that fills the thoughtful with dread. Unless we are willing to make an offering at the shrine of hate, we will be left behind. It becomes a wasted day if we have not found something or someone to abhor. The fact that millions believe these insanities of the religious right proves that psychosis can be taught and that hate is contagious. We are experiencing a blatant, unapologetic antichrist, a revision of the teachings of Jesus, whose gospel was one of love and acceptance, not hate and rejection. The question keeps rattling at the door. To what dark destiny is this leading? So, powerful from Jerry Spence, what he wrote here. And Veronica, you're sitting there thinking, with your eyes wide, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's a lot to take in.
It is, isn't it? And so, we got to be careful. We understand that, he talks about liberalism in here, and Hitler was opposed to liberalism. He was a conservative, and he was saying, through comedy and art, these people are, ushering in evil. And so that's something that, we don't want to get too excited. Like you hear like, oh, the election, this current election coming up is going to get canceled. Trump's going to win big. The whole country's going to be red, but then they're going to count all the mail-in ballots, and that's going to take however long it takes, and then Donald Trump loses, and then what are you going to do? Are you going to go out on the streets and start breaking stuff, falling for the trap? So we got to be careful, and we'll see how the election plays out. And I think this kind of hints at that, because we're talking about, going out and doing something about something you believe strongly about, like, for example, combating liberalism, like what Hitler did, and convincing Christians that we need to, rout all of this evil that is coming through from the Jews through art and cinema and all these things, right? Mm-hmm. And so we got to be aware of the history that we talk about when we play at the beginning, learn from other countries' mistakes, and this is what I'm hitting at. And we don't want to, out of fear, hate others' cultures or religions. We want to love and accept them, and that's the calling. So I thought that was really important, and Jerry Spence gets my approval because his belief system is based on Christ's teaching, so that helps me. My personal experience going to law school and going to having a secular education, I've been around families who mock the name of Christ, and they're like, ha, 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 Christ this, the reason why you probably got hurt was because of Christ, and it's just like, whoa. For me, that's like, whoa, but then you ask them, are you spiritual? What happens when you die? Ask them like a hard question right down the middle, and they are spiritual. And so if you want to, see about these things that I'm talking about, I do write about it on my blog. I call it the BLAWG blog at anthonypaglia.com, ANTHONYPAGLIA.com. And you'll see, my short writings. I make it real quick so that way I keep your attention best I can. And I don't subscribe to the divide and conquer strategy implemented by Fox and CNN, the blue and red dichotomy. I'm registered independent. I strongly do believe in a very small government, non-global in scope, and a strong business, small businesses in our community. I think that's the backbone of America's small businesses. And so with that transition, speaking of small businesses, Veronica, what do you got cooking with your businesses?
Well, with Low4 Productions, we're getting ready to launch our drive-through lunches. That's the one thing that I'm focused on right now.
Awesome.
And with Bucket Branch, which is my clear out and haul away business, I just met with a new client yesterday, and I just thought we'd talk a little bit about, as you get older, and your spouse passes away, people don't think about all that till it's already there.
Yeah.
But I met with a lady. She's having a really hard time that she has to move in with her son now that she's older.
Okay.
And it's very sad to me that, she doesn't know what to take, what to keep, and she doesn't have any help because usually some of your kids live out of state, right?
Yeah.
So she wanted to know, like, where does she even start? Where would you start if you had to clear out your house? What would you do, Anthony?
Shoot, I would start with the garage.
That's a good one.
Yeah, to start clearing that out best I can.
Yeah. So we came up with putting stickers on stuff she wants to keep.
Okay.
So I know that. And setting all that in one room.
Did you limit how many stickers that she got?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it is just something to think about. Don't wait till the last minute to start clearing out stuff as you get older.
We had that attorney on the show saying get a living trust.
Yes.
So I'm going to get a living trust here in the next 6 months or so.
That's good.
12 months, something like that.
Because all the little knickknacks that were really important to you may not be important to your kids.
True.
So honestly, I would say start selling stuff as you get older and enjoy life.
There you go.
Don't-
You can't take it with you.
Yeah, because even my kids, I do this for a living for other people, but they're like, Mom, get rid of your stuff. We do not want to deal with that. But my company goes in and helps you get organized, helps you figure out what you're going to keep, what you want to get rid of if you're downsizing. Because as you get older, you need to downsize. But you're
Right.
not going to keep all this stuff, and people just accumulate so many things.
I mean, just imagine having to go through all that stuff and pick up things, bend over, go through this, go through that. It's better to stay light, right? Now a lot of
Stay
stuff.
light as you get older. That's what I would say. And you know what? All those things you saved for your kids, the one day you're going to give this to your grandkid, give it to them while you're alive.
Right now.
Like I tell my kids, I'm not going to give you money when I die. I'm going to give you things now so I could watch you enjoy it.
That's nice.
I'm going to take you to dinner now. I'm going to take you on a trip now. Because I want to see, and I want to see the pictures, and I want to see their smiles. So that's where I'm at with that. That business, I'm doing very well. I've got a lot of different clients, and I do provide the service of helping you get started on that path, getting rid of things.
Excellent. Yeah, I've seen the show Hoarders, and it could be disastrous.
Yeah, because you just keep accumulating things, Because you're like, one day I'll use this. One day. And that day never comes.
It never comes. My mom busted out all of her Beanie Babies. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I have. I've got a few of those that
Oh my goodness. My brother tried to sell them online, because she's got like 100 of the same bear, and no one wants them. It might be special to her, but
See what I'm
you
saying?
can't sell them. Yeah.
And then maybe, I'm going to save them for my granddaughter. Well, maybe they don't want them either.
yeah, so we were holding them to see, but then we went down your route, which is enjoy them, play with them,
Play with them.
put
Yeah.
up on a shelf or something. So that's always interesting.
So my business are doing well. I'm doing that. I'm part of the Boulder City Chamber now, so that's going to get going. They're going to build a website for me and start
Wow.
promoting my business.
Nice.
And yeah, I would love to help people pack, help people move. I like doing stuff like that with older people. I really enjoy that.
And Boulder City is a nice area. In our office, we have Dr. Jeffrey Andrews. He's a chiropractor, gone attorney. He is in our office, and he helps us with our cases. And so if you've been hurt, 830-7070. We have
Yep.
a whole entire legal team to help you. We're off of 95 Galleria in Stephanie. So make sure you call us right away if you've been hurt. We don't want to waste any time. And the consultations are free and confidential. And then Veronica, today I think you brought a song for us.
Yeah, I wanted to. One of our first shows, I played the song Humanity, and I still think it's just one of those songs that needs to be listened to. You know the story that I wrote it at Home Depot, right?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay,
yeah.
well, that's that song. Everybody, and the other day I was in Home Depot, and I was like, this is the Home Depot I wrote that song in.
Well, now you got to have a Lowe's song next.
Yeah,
Home Depot,
Lowe's.
Lowe's, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Lowe's will want something. But yeah, so yeah, call me if you need help getting rid of stuff, selling stuff, moving stuff out of your garage, things hauled away. Just really quick, 702-845-5094. Again, 702-845-5094. And, I got a truck, a trailer, and I can help you start clearing stuff out.
Excellent. We're here to help small businesses. If you want to be on the show, give us a call, 702-650-5588. It's kind of a lot of numbers we're throwing out there.
Yeah,
but
it is.
I apologize.
I don't know if you should have thrown
I shouldn't have
one
done
out
that.
after mine.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
That's like now 16 numbers.
We're going to have to repeat your number through the
Okay.
shows here. To let them give you a call.
Leave
We
it to
wanna-
Anthony to give you another 8 numbers. I'm just kidding.
I'm working on this radio thing, okay? I'm still working on it. It's a
Yeah.
work in progress here, okay?
But you can find me under Bucket Branch.
There you go.
There's easy. Bucket Branch on Facebook, and soon I'll have a website. And we provide a lot of different services. I mean, I have a whole list. We help clear out yards. We do pressure washing. We help pack moving trucks and bubble wrap, whatever you need. A lot of the older people, it's really hard for them to pack their things.
Right.
So
Cool. So
we
you're there
go
to
in
help
and do all that. Yeah, I love helping people. So
Sounds good. Let's hear the song.
yeah, let's hear the song, Humanity.
Every tear we cry has no color. you and me. Oh, oh, we are humanity. This is our world. Let's live in unity. Everything we do affects each other. Only together we stay strong. Every baby cries, every child plays. All our eyes must rest. We all feel hunger pains to our tired feet. A breeze on our face, a touch of a hand to a warm embrace. Oh, 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 we are humanity. This is our world, living life, you and me. Oh, 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 we are humanity. This is our world. Let's live in unity.
Excellent. I love that song. Very good.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Yeah, very nice. We were talking about the divide and conquer strategy implemented by Blue and Red, and the lyrics, together we're strong in unity, and I agree with that 100%. And that you'll see, hear about people who are upset about not, being able to work. They're quenching for love, right? I think we all are. And we were talking about fake news, and I wanted to mention too about my dad was saying he spoke to an attorney out in Oregon, and that the rioting there is really just about a quarter of a block, and then the rest of the entire city's peaceful. But the news makes it look like the whole city's burning down.
Right, right. I saw some videos and I was really disturbed by them burning the Bible and burning a flag on top of the Bible. I was really disturbed by that.
See that, and it circles back to the Jerry Spence book. People trying to rouse other people to act based on emotion, and there's no logic to that. So you get mad and you throw a brick through a window. If you're not paid to do it, we talked about that. We know people are being paid to do this. If you're doing it out of emotion, now you're countering your own, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to prove, be a good person.
You know the way it struck me, which made me upset, was that, like, my father came here with a dream, and a lot of these people that are doing this have the privilege of being born here. Like, they don't understand what it is to be American, to want to love this country and want to work and provide and send money back to your parents in another country. Like, I don't think they even think of that, right? So, like, that's why it's so disturbing. It's like, hey, do you know how many people wish they were in your shoes and were born here?
Right, to have the opportunity to pursue, to pay your own way and be your own person, pave your own path.
And have their children become successful. That's a big deal to people that come from other countries.
Yeah, they want their children to have a better life than what they have. That's a
Right.
major goal, and that's right. That's how it should be.
So these people are doing this, and a lot of them are young. I saw a bunch of kids.
Okay.
It's like, do you understand what you even have in the palm of your hands? I don't think you see.
Well, they could be acting out of that emotional state, right? To
Right.
get people acting out of their humanity way, I guess.
Right. But I
out of
wish they could
emotions.
watch a movie of a person that just wants to come here to live a better life.
Without the government taking it away from you,
Yes,
having your
just-
God-given individual rights.
Right. And just to see how proud a parent is that they work so hard to get here and make a life that their children can literally go to college, and, like, that makes these parents so proud.
Right, to avoid the hunger pains that was
Yeah.
in your lyrics and your song.
Right.
That's to have a hunger pain is all would absolutely.
You would
awful.
never burn the flag if you felt that. You would never burn
Or
the
the
Bible.
Bible.
Never.
I think that's part of the trying to get people enticed. Don't take the bait. Listen to when you see that and you get mad, listen to Veronica's song, Humanity.
Yes.
Instead.
And America's Glory.
And America's Glory.
Those two songs are my babies.
There we go.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I guess we're at the end, Anthony.
Okay, so we have about 30 seconds left. We're going to have bankruptcy attorney Miguel Lopez on the show.
Okay, awesome.
We have him scheduled to come on and talk about. He was a constitutional law professor, so we can talk about, rights, God-given rights, and these things.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, and I hope everybody listens again next week.
The other driver made a bad choice. So, make a good choice. Call 830-7070. Choose attorney Anthony Paglia for the maximum possible settlement of your injury case. 830-7070.
Thank you for listening to our show, Money, Politics, and Religion, with attorney Anthony Paglia. Tune in next week to hear more politics, money, and religion. And remember, if you're ever hurt in a car crash, call attorney Anthony Paglia, injury attorney, at 702-830-7070 for a free and confidential consultation.
Call 830-7070.
Do you believe in planting seeds of goodness with your finances? Do you often give a few dollars to the person panhandling on the street? When you hand them some change or money for their needs, do you ask for a tax-deductible receipt? Of course not.